Hello, and welcome to an all-new Unbiased Gear Review. Today we are taking a look at the Sterling JP150. Let's take a look at the specifications of this guitar. First of all, we are looking at an African mahogany body with a bolted-on roasted maple neck and a roasted maple fretboard. We have locking tuners and 24 frets. We also have a quilted maple veneer. We have what Sterling calls their Modern Tremolo, as well as a master volume, master tone, and three-way toggle switch that also has a 9-volt powered push-push 12 dB boost. It also has two no-name fucking pickups. So when you pick this thing up, one of the first things you're going to notice is how balanced it feels between the neck and the body. It just fits so perfectly up against you. When you wear it with a strap, it doesn't really tilt at all. The neck feels really, really good. It is a super flat C shape to this neck, and it has a 16-inch fretboard radius, but it feels flatter. I don't know how else to describe it except that it just does not feel like a 16-inch radius. It feels more like an 18 or a 20. It's just very, very flat. You can tell that it is made for high-speed picking runs, the kind of thing that John Petrucci himself is known for. That being said, I felt it pretty effortless to play on this thing. The fretwork is pretty nice, although up on the upper frets we do have a little bit of kind of Ibanez level sharp fret edges up here that probably after you play it for a while it'll start to file itself down, or you can just grab a file and grind it down a little bit. All the same, it's not that much of a big deal because it's mostly up here, but if you're like most people who end up getting a John Petrucci model of some sort, you're probably going to be soloing a lot, so take that into consideration that the fret edges up here are a little sharp. Throughout much of the fretboard, that is not the case. The fret leveling is pretty darn good, albeit when I first got this thing I had to give it a little bit of setup because up here we were getting some buzz and some dead spots. That being said, a quick little turn of the spoke wheel down here and it was a-okay fine, not a problem. The finish work is impeccable. I'm not seeing any defects whatsoever. Even though I pointed out that the finish work was pretty awesome on this, I will say that there is some routing issues that I've discovered, especially in terms of the pickup routes. We've got some kind of sharp edges here and there where it just looks like maybe the tooling slipped a little bit. Is that something that, you know, someone's going to see from the front row if they're watching your band play? Maybe not so much. Is that something that you might notice if you are like seriously looking at the thing, looking for issues? Yes, it is. Take that into consideration as well. The trem bar leaves a little bit to be desired. And it's kind of temperamental, I would say. It's kind of inconsistent. There's been some days where I banged around on this thing and it plays fantastic. I've had zero issues with it. I remember the first day that I was recording the song at the beginning of this video, I was just having a blast, just banging around on this thing, and it would always snap back in tune. Meanwhile, today, after not playing it for a couple days, I'm having some of the typical tuning stability issues that you typically see from these kind of non-locking trims right here. And granted, yeah, it's got locking tuners, but that can really only do so much when it's not locking down here at the trim system itself. So, yeah, it leaves a little bit to be desired. Sometimes it snaps right back into tune, no problem. Other times, usually the G string itself will be pulled out of whack. Sometimes even the low E string I've found on this particular model has also gone out of tune. But, I mean, that being said, it is still an extremely responsive trim. I would even say it's a little bit more responsive than some of the newer Floyd Rose styles that I have played. So, take that for what it's worth. Touching back on the tremolo system, one other thing that I don't really care for so much, and it just drives me insane every single time that I see this on a tremolo bridge, but this is the kind of tremolo system where you've got to put the bar in and then tighten it with an Allen key right here in order to keep it in place. I've never really dug that so much. I'd rather use the kind like a typical low pro edge where you just have to whack in the bar and it stays in place, or even something where you just have to tighten something here by just screwing it down and that tightens the bar and keeps the bar in place. But having this extra little part in here, it just makes it a little bit more difficult to throw the bar in, jump on stage and go, or vice versa, take the bar out and pack everything up and leave. I don't know. It's not something that I've ever really cared for. So one area of opportunity I feel this instrument definitely has is with regards to the electronics, with regards to these pickups, these no-name pickups that are in here. The reason why you can't find anything about these pickups is because it's essentially what they are. They're no-name pickups that do fuck all. They're every bit as good as some of the cheap, junky shit that you find in cheap Ibanez models. They're very mushy. They've got high output, but what does it matter because there's no articulation whatsoever. It's just extremely gainy. It came through a lot in like the song at the beginning of the video because I cleaned up the Kemper profiles a lot. I used basically the same profiles as what I used in the last video, the Charvel video, and everyone was talking about how much they loved the tone of that. Well, the pickups may have had something to do with that because I was honestly using the exact same tones and sounded like raw shit on this guitar, honestly. Just, it's definitely not something you would want to take to a recording studio or even up on stage with tone like that. If you were to get this instrument, I would say the number one thing you are doing right off the bat is you are ripping these suckers out. The neck pickup is honestly no better. There's a little bit of that sweetness, that beautiful neck pickup tone in there, but it's still just mush, so it doesn't really come through too much when you're playing it. This is definitely something that, if it was up to me, if I was doing the R&D on this, you know, I've waxed eloquent about it before. Companies out there, please, I don't even give a shit if it's your import models, stop putting shit pickups in your guitars. I promise you, This thing would be worth like an extra $100 out of my wallet had I known that it had better pickups coming out of it. But these cheap things, whatever the fuck they are, they sound terrible. And anyone that's going to pick this thing up is going to be like, oh yeah, these things are awesome, but basically you guys wasted copper wire and wasted magnets and wasted the plastic pieces on making junk pickups that are really no good for anything except for throwing them on my refrigerator to hold a note up. Put some DiMarzios in there. Put some Duncans in there. Real Duncans, not the Duncan design shit. I promise you, the guitar buying public will think much more highly of you for it. While we're at it, on the subject of useless shit, this boost that's on here, it's a nice concept having 12 dB of boost. Except that you can't hear a difference whatsoever. Barely any. And this is with a fresh battery in it. Who's gonna find any sort of use out of this when they're playing on stage? Myself personally, I'd rather throw a boost pedal in front of it, or if I'm playing on something like a triple rec that's got a built-in, I'll just use the one that's on the foot switch. It works fine. Not this. This is just kind of meh. So do I think that this instrument is a winner? Yes and no. I think that, honestly, there's a lot of fine appointments about this. I love the fact that in this price point, you've got a guitar with a roasted maple neck and a roasted maple board. I love roasted maple because it really does enhance the stability of the instrument. And also, I think it looks really, really cool. But, and this is a heavy but, this instrument, as awesome as it plays, as awesome as the other appointments are, the electronics just kind of bring the experience down. I mean, this thing is effortless to solo on. It's very inspiring to come up with riffs on, but god damn does it need better pickups and better electronics. I would even say to a certain extent, I would like this a lot more if it had like a Floyd on here, but then again, I know that there's always some people with the JPs that they really like the trem systems, even the ones on the Sterling. Shit. I would say just save up your money and get yourself like a JP16 so that you get a real deal Music Man with a Floyd on it. And now, Arnold, what are you drinking today? Well, today I am having from Aleworks Brewing Company their Vacillator Doppelbock. This is quite a nice Doppelbock, if I do say so myself. I believe it's got a 7.2 ABV, and it would be great if I could find it on the label somewhere. And I'm not. Okay, whatever. But I want to say it's like a 7.2 alcohol by volume. It tastes really, really nice. I've had a few sips already. Just going to pour it like this so you can see it does have a little bit of a beige head, but kind of a reddish amber hue that's pouring out. Has a kind of sweet aroma to it, kind of sweet yet roasty. Very, very nice texture to it. Tickles the back of your throat a little bit right here. It definitely has some notes of toffee, kind of roasted nuts in there too, but also a little bit of caramel. I really like it. It's very nice. It's very smooth for a Doppelbock. It's just very, very flavorful. So yeah, I highly recommend it. Aleworks Brewing Company, Vacillator. This is their Doppelbock. It does say it's a limited edition, so if you can find it, get it. So that's all I've got today. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe. Find me on Facebook. Find me on Untapped. And yeah, look forward to the next video. Thank you so much.